This video is to give you some tips on how to best print your spreadsheet. So I'll go ahead and start with my daughter's. This is her view for the week. And so if I go to my print menu, it may look like this to begin with. So here would be her sheet. And this is going to be way too small, even in landscape mode. That font is too small. So I like to print it in portrait. And I set my own custom page breaks. So my page breaks have it to where Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday show on the front page. And then Thursday and Friday, I print it two-sided. So Thursday and Friday will be on the back along with her checklist for the week. Now this notice spills over a little bit onto another page, just one subject per day on some of the days. So one tip you can do is to go back and look at your entire week view. So I'm just going to use the print menu to look at that. And look at your rows. If you have a row with several small courses, short, without a lot of information in them, and then one that's really large, and you have something you can swap that out with, then that might be a good choice. Maybe you don't want to do that because you have your lessons lined up in the order in which you want your students to complete them. If that's the case, fine, leave it and print on more pages. If you are using this, as I am, as just a reference sheet to know what to do and not necessarily as my schedule and the order of the day, then I want to minimize my printing and maximize my paper efficiency. And so I can see here that Singapore math on Friday and dictation, if I were to swap those, that might make this row small enough because this is very small all the way across. So let me give that a shot. Or another one I might want to try would be this one at the end. I may change that. This large class here, that's language study, if I were to move that up here to where I already have several other full courses. So I need to go back to my schedule sheet. And let's say I change language study, and this may work, it may not, and historical poetry. And then go back to see when I print this. Now I can see my third and my fourth pages are just blank. The reason those blank pages are showing up is because I haven't hidden these white rows that I'm not utilizing. So I'm going to hide these. You never want to delete the rows, always hide. It's going to warn me, are you sure? Yes, I'm just hiding them, that's fine. Now let's look at our print. Just 2 pages. So this is the ideal. This is the way that I originally designed the spreadsheet to work. 1 page front and back, Monday through Wednesday on one side, Thursday, Friday, and the notes on the other. And it is small font, but it's readable for my eyes. That's going to be up to you. If you want to change your page breaks to where maybe you only have 2 pages on a day, then you can edit them here. You can move them around. Say, I want to break my page here. And then you would want that there. And you can see that's going to make a total of 6 pages because it's going to flow over to the other side. So that is how I like to print it. Now, if you're, I originally designed this sheet a year ago when I was not using the alveary. And so my lesson plans tended to be short, and I didn't have things like the recap and all of that in there. And I love having that in there now. So it's going to be a little longer. So let's take a look at one last tip. If you're going to be printing, I'll show that on the next one. Let's take a look at another one. So this student definitely has too much to fit onto. If I go to that same view, portrait mode, and I set my custom page breaks, I want it to break here after Wednesday. And so it gets rid of that one. And you can see it will print a solid 4 pages. And that's fine. So this student will have more. So what I would suggest here is printing front and back. And I would want Monday through Wednesday to be on the front, and then my next page to also be Monday through Wednesday, like the continuation of his lessons from Monday through Wednesday. And this I can see has a 5th and 6th page because the white rows are not hidden. So let's begin by hiding those, and then we'll have just 4 pages. And this would work well for an older student that you were just handing, give them their Monday through Wednesday work, and then later give them their Thursday and Friday. So if you want it to print in that order, then you can change that here under formatting. So instead of Monday through Wednesday and then the first Thursday through Friday, I want to go down then over. So I'll have Monday through Wednesday, and then Monday through Wednesday, front and back, and then Thursday, Friday, and the rest of Thursday, Friday. And so his would be nice and condensed onto those 4 pages. I'll show you something else here, another trick. If it doesn't look like she's done yet with the, so this is a problem, right? Daily poetry. This is too large for this little row. So a couple ways to handle that: either input some information into that lesson plan to make it expand it manually, like so, until it's large enough to all fit, or go back and change the name of that. Now, if you choose to change the name of this, Daily Poetry, grades 1 through 8, that's a lot of words to describe this little 5-minute block. If I want to just call it poetry, that might cause a problem because there may be another lesson called Daily Poetry. I don't know if there is another lesson called Daily Poetry. So let's take a look. You never want to name a class a subset that is a subset of another subject. So if I have another Daily Poetry, let's see how many poetries show up here. See, I have analyzing and writing poetry. So the word poetry cannot be used on its own. So if I go to Daily Poetry, grades 1 through 8, and I do have Daily Poetry grades 9 through 12, even though it's not showing up. So, but I could name this Poetry 1 or something like that. And then it's not going to be a subset of another class. Now, if I change it here, I have to also change it on the lesson plans. So let's find where that was. Daily Poetry. Okay, so I'm going to change this to Poetry 1. And then I need to check to see if I have any links for poetry, which I don't think that lesson has any links, but we could go ahead and change it just to be sure. Daily Poetry, grades 1 through 8. Probably not any links, but I'll go ahead and change it here to Poetry 1. This is the name that the spreadsheet will be looking for. And that's all the places that you need to change it. It will have already changed it on everywhere. Oh, it's not everywhere. The schedules of courses. If you go to your schedule of courses, it's going to say, wait a minute, you had Daily Poetry scheduled. That's not a class that you have anymore. So we're going to change it. Don't change that to Poetry 1. Okay. Now let's look at our schedule for student 1, and it just fits so much more nicely. So I can say, all right, I only need this to be that large. More concise name for that course. So that would be another tip. One other thing I want to show just to ease your printing each week is to hide all of the tabs that you don't need. So if you go and if you're done with your planning, and you can always open these back up if you decide to go and change things. Just hide all of these sheets that I'm not going to change my enrollment. I'm done entering my lesson plans. I need to access my links every week, so I'll leave that open. I'm done planning my students' weekly checklists. I don't need to look at my course sheet anymore. Maybe I want to access my lesson plans occasionally, but I'll open it up if I need to. Schedules of courses. I'm done rearranging their work. All this information that was useful for planning. Oh, I don't need this links. I need links for the week. So I need to use leave currently studying because this is where you'll change it each week. So I'll change this to week 2 next week. And I need my student 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to use these weekly views. So I'm going to hide all these. Okay, and when it comes time to print each week, here's what I can do. Print my whole workbook. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So well, that's a lot. Okay, that's because they bleed over to 2 tabs. I want to print. I don't want to print all my sheets. I don't want to print my currently studying or my links for the week. I just want 1, 2, and 3. So I'll apply that here. And I want them all in portrait mode. And I want them all to, so I can't do custom page breaks if I do this, but I can do custom number. So I determined that custom page break number, if you looked at it a minute ago, it was 78%. So I'm going to put 78% here because that forces it to break at the right place. So you'll have to find the magic number for yours. It's probably 78%. So here is my first student, my second student, and my third student. And I can just print this each week so that you're not having to go to each tab individually and print. All right, and my last tip. So this family has a lot of empty lines still showing. And I noticed that this family is using the older version of the spreadsheet that still has the borders. And the reason that I have chosen to remove the borders, I mean, you remove them by actually turning them white, is because look at this print view. When I change it to custom page breaks, and I want to break it here after Wednesday. Okay, so if you look here, this black line that is bordering it sometimes appears and sometimes it disappears. See, it's not here, it's not at the bottom, and sometimes it will appear or disappear inconsistently. Like it may have a black line here down 2 cells and not have the rest, and it was just driving me batty. And so I chose to take all the cells that I have information in and change them to just white borders. Click all borders. And I think it looks much neater when it's printed in that manner. Less busy, but I feel like there's still enough distinction between the blocks to tell which lesson is which. All right, here's another thing for this family. They don't have anything scheduled on Monday. So you may just want to hide your Monday tab, your columns. Again, don't ever delete, but I can hide these columns if I want to. And then maybe choose a different way to print this. Maybe this would fit onto, it still doesn't fit landscape. If you don't care that your checklist and notes are here, then you could hide that one and then print it, portrait, and it would all, yeah, all fit on one page. So that's one thing you can do. Maybe even going a little crazy here, move your, expand that back out. Where did it go? Take this checklist, copy this code, and place it down here. Get one row back. Right here, I'm going to put that checklist. I'm going to delete the code that's there. And I've moved the check. Oh, that checklist is so big. Okay, that may not be the best thing to do. Let's see how that would look. Go back and hide. It won't print out on that page. Because of the way I have that coded, there's a lot of space there. Okay, so this didn't quite work. I'm gonna undo that. You can try, if you so dare, to move things around. You can always undo if you didn't like it. Okay, so this would print. It still didn't fit landscape, I guess. One page front and back. I might be had it in portrait. That's what I had. I had it in portrait without this column. Now, together, this says across the top, together, term 1, week 1, the date together. You can move this if you don't like the arrangement, because that was really set up to be on the front and back of 2 pages. So you may want to, you can change or move these codes around. Just make sure that you're highlighting the whole, copying it, and then pasting it where you do want it. So maybe I want this one to be here. And I want this to be justified to the right. Ooh, not that one. This one. So I don't need it here any longer. And maybe you're happy with that and justify that to the left and have the date there in the center. It's up to you. You can move those things around. But see, if I copy this cell, this will get into a little spreadsheet programming. If you don't want to hear this, cover your ears. If I copy this cell and paste it over here, it's going to change my coding and it doesn't work. See that hashtag ref? So you can't just copy the cell. You have to go in and copy the code to move it. All right, so that's some spreadsheet, just some printing tips for you to maybe help you figure out how to print yours.